So since I had the biggest network, I was in charge of getting people in. And so I went through DreamWorks, Louis Del Carmen, went through Pixar, for Ronnie, and there's another guy there, Ricky Vierva, and Marvel, DC, Sony, everywhere. I had to turn down like 100 people because there were just so many of us. I mean, as I was doing the credits for everybody so that people could recognize these names, well, nobody knew the names, but they could recognize what we worked on. You can name anything that's in popular media, any movie, any animation, any game, or anything. And there's not only, lead artists there, but managers, directors. We're all over the place.
I thought it was funny. I went to Pixar to visit Roy Del Carmen, and he gave me a Filipino tour of Pixar, pretty much. Like when you got there, the person who checked you in was Filipino, and then you went to every Filipino person. But I went there for one of the Techno movie. They did a charity event. Tons of people just painting stuff. Pete Doctor painted this really beautiful Filipino. Pete Doctor is the guy who won the Oscar for all the other Pixar stuff. But yeah, they're all there. It's amazing how
Did Ronnie tell you what they called themselves?
He probably did. I forgot.
Pig's Noise.
Pig's Noise. Well, you had one of your mentees was Jay Oliva, right?
Jay, I don't know if y'all, Jay Oliva, he's the guy, I would like to say, he's the storyboard artist in all the DC movies right now. Like he did storyboards for Superman.
Batman, all the Batman vs Superman.
He just finished up Justice League and everything.
He also directed the adaptation of Dark Knight Returns on the two of the best animated films, Dark Knight Returns, right, on the adaptation. He directed that. He also directed Justice League Unlimited. He directed.
I think sit up here and talk about Filipino people.
They're everywhere, literally everywhere. We're like everywhere you walk around. Like.
That's one of the things that when I was thinking about this panel, it was interesting because I've talked many a time with Kuya Wills. Kuya Wills, and it's interesting when I listen to talking also with Leo, is I'm always constantly surprised by how many Filipinos are actually in these arts, because you just don't hear about it. And I've been, a comic book nerd for my whole life. And so how many, just real quickly, how many people even recognize some of these names that are being put out there? So you got homework, right? So go out and do some research on these guys. But what other things too I'm going to talk about? So what other in those animation in the animation world, Van? You said there's plenty of people at Pixar, but what about at Cartoon Network? When you're at Cartoon Network?
Well, when I was at Cartoon Network, that was, I don't know if anyone's seen that movie, The Debut. Anyone seen it?
Yes.
It's based on his life, part of it. No, it's not. It's true.
It's loosely based on my life. You can watch it. It's kind of fun. Anyways, after watching that movie, I was all, wow, I need to. I never really embraced the Filipino side of me, I guess you can say. But after that movie, I was like, okay, I should do that more. The neat thing, the way I got to know Ryan Del Carmen was because of that movie. It's like I had been a fan of his work, and he had been a fan of my work. And I got on Twitter, and I tweeted like, "Hey, I like your stuff." "Hey, I like your stuff too." He's like, "Hey, we should meet up. I'm gonna be in San Francisco. Hey, come up to Pixar." "Okay." And it was like that simple. I was like, "This is super cool." But the reason why we bonded was because it was his son that watched that movie that actually changed his son's life. Because up to that point, his son didn't know what he wanted to do. He didn't really see any Filipinos in the media. He didn't see anybody with any kind of drive or anything like that, pushing them into any kind of creative field. Saw that movie, is like, oh my gosh, I can do whatever I want. And that's the problem that I found with a lot of Filipinos, is that we, as parents, as immigrants, as all those different things, we don't encourage our kids to go into the arts because it's not a very lucrative thing, one. Two, there's no roadmap to it. There's not very many Filipinos out there that you can look at and go, hey, they made it. How'd they do that? Maybe I can kind of forge a way that way. I never really, both me and Leo grew up knowing Ernie Reyes Jr. That's about as Filipino as we
Because my mother was friends with our parents, and
we're like,
we're like,
oh, she came to like
Ernie, what is he doing over there? It's weird.
So, was he in like Surf Ninjas or something?
Yes.
But that's all that we knew, kind of thing, growing up. But the people that we knew who had made something of themselves weren't comics. They were the Filipino. So that was kind of the thing that spurred us on to say, hey, these people have made it in this field. That's something that we can do, even though our parents didn't want us to go in that field, even though we wanted to go like in the film, animation, all that other stuff. That was almost kind of like our little, our North Star, all those guys.
But you were sticking Filipinos in on Johnny Bravo.
Oh yeah, see
Give
what
those stories.
So I go like this. But there's a point. Yeah, so after I saw the debut, I was like, I got to hire more Filipinos, and then I had to find the Filipinos that were working in the street. I hired. I think I had 3 Filipino artists, so that was good. I was like, okay, that was a good percentage of Filipino artists. And then Filipino voice people, I was like, I got Lea Salonga, she got to do a voice on the show, and Dante Bosco because he was in the debut. I was like, hey, you kind of played me a little bit, because I had never met him.
That was fun. And yours, what's great is like when we were reading comics, I'm like, I think he's Filipino. Like we would look at his artwork and like, I think he's Filipino and stuff like that. And so actually you should talk about that.
Yeah, it's actually.
Sorry, I'm steering it around. I get all excited. So
It
these
was
stories.
weird. I went, after being in the industry for a little while, I believe this is already image. I believe it, I needed a break. I mean, it's a grind, as you guys know. And so I went back to the Philippines for 2 months. I ended up staying there for 5 years, 95 to 2000. And that's when I set up the studio at the school, because I got there and there was this group called Alamat. And there were a bunch of indie guys, Bochetan, Jerry Alangilan, Gilbert Monsanto, and everybody. And they came up to my condo, and there were a bunch of guys that from UP and all these different universities, rich guys, lower class, middle class, and they all shared comics. So there were no societal barriers. They all just shared this love for something that couldn't happen in their eyes. And I remember them asking me to help them out, and I didn't know what to do. I was still young and dumb, and still trying to enjoy my life and trying to figure out where I was going to go. I wasn't even attached back then yet. And then Jerry comes up to me, Jerry Alangila, he's a great writer. He came up to me and he said, Will, did you know that when you came here, you sparked something? And I go, what? I'm just a kid here. I just draw funny things. And he said that, no, before you came here, we saw this Portage show, but that's Spanish too. So some people thought that I was Spanish, but then with Will's, which is the correct pronunciation of a non-name, some people pronounce it Wilche. So some people thought I was Italian. So he said that when I finally came to the Philippines, they finally realized that I really was Filipino. And not only was I Filipino, I was not that much older than them. And so it made their impossible dream possible. In the Philippines we have a phrase, kung kaya ko, if I can do it, kaya mo, you can do it. And so by and it's not me, it could have been any one of us that went home and people recognizing that we were Filipino. Just that connection that it's possible. who, you've got Neil Yu, he's one of the most prolific natural artists in the world. Roy Alan Martinez, who is phenomenal and he has this really dark brain. But again, it started this new wave just because it was possible. And that brought me back real quickly to my young age, and something me and Ronnie were talking about. When I was in high school in the 70s, dating myself, in Hawaii, I was like everybody else in high school looking for identity. And, right guys? You can't find it in movies, you can't find it in books, and then you do what you think is a natural thing, ask your parents, and they say, that's the way it is. They won't tell you, you know? And so there was this void. So in my case, I had mostly Japanese friends at the time, so I became Japanese for a while. But I think that's part of what we as creatives should bond together for on the Filipino side. And Ronnie and I have talked about this a lot. We've got to give our kids heroes, something to strive for. Now we're in an abundance of possible heroes and role models, but nobody knows about us. Nobody knows. I mean, you can even take it into other fields, science and everything. There's Filipino contributions all over the map, but we don't know.
It's fun. I don't know if anybody go to the Filipino Hollywood Bowl concert? Anyone? Isn't that awesome? At the Hollywood Bowl, Apple the App put together this concert of all the Filipino musical artists. And it's like at the Hollywood Bowl, seriously, you can fill that many seats of Filipinos? Yeah, people that I didn't know. I didn't know any of them, actually. The biggest ones were, Black Eyed Peas. So Black Eyed Peas, yeah. Because it was Apple the App. And Nicole Scherzinger.
Nicole Scherzinger.
Yeah, and it was hosted by Lou Dutton Films and Vanessa Hudgens. And so it was just funny to hear her talk. You don't really talk to her when you talk to God. Yes. It's cool because you're able to see that there are actually other Filipinos out there. I was in the animation for like a long time not knowing any other Filipinos. I'd see them, but I never really talked to them because I was still in that shame place. And then the other Filipino guys, they just came in. They weren't very sociable. I was a very sociable person, so I'd go meet people, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, it's fine. I have to finish." And whatever they're doing. It's like we weren't like collaborating or doing anything else. It was just a really silent kind of majority of Filipinos. They'd all meet together over in the corner. And they're there.
About food.
Exactly. It's funny because Alex Nino would come in. He'd come in like way early in the morning because he lived in San Diego at the time. He'd come in like at 3 or 4 in the morning, then he'd leave at 11 a.m. So
he was fast.
But yeah, he'd just go whoosh, and then be done. And you're like, he'd finish his work for Friday, like on Wednesday, he'd just come in, step in during.
I remember
just to escape his family.
I remember walking in. I would go over to Cartoon Network, and then there was that one day. It was like, oh, you introduced me to Alex, and then we started talking. But it was weird. It's a weird vibe when he was in Cartoon Network because you see Alex Nino and then just run across the hall, and I would go talk to Seth MacFarlane, and Seth would just like be this crazy energy, him and Butch and all those other guys, and but one thing I was going to take away from those guys is that there's a confidence and that a lot of these guys have. Like people, we were growing up, they'd tell us, don't write, dance, sing, do everything, it's like that. You could specialize on one thing. But it was crazy because all my friends, all the people I knew who were white in the film industry did multiple things. Everyone that I know who's gone on to do things. And it was interesting to see somebody like Seth who was singing and then playing music, but then also drawing and everything that you can think of. But for us, they would always tell us, oh, one thing only, one thing at a time. I'm like, I don't understand what this. I'm over at YouTube Space. What's amazing over there is to see how many. So I think social media and which we're number one according, in the world, Philippines social media. But I noticed something with technology. You see these YouTubers, and a lot of them, a great number of them, are Filipinos. Like Guava Roy, Guava Juice. I'm like, what? He got 8 million followers. All he does is fill up a bathtub and eat out of it. He's got 8 million followers. That's on one channel. The other channel, he's got 6 million. And then his cousin, who's less famous, Marlon, Filipino, also, he's got 2 million. And he's the one trying to be an actor. Guava Roy's get all kinds of people. But that's the thing is for Filipinos, we have to be more proactive. We actually have the power to do. This time around, we have to say, oh no, I could do it all. Like Filipinos, you go to the Philippines, you ask them to do anything. You want to play guitar? Play guitar. You want to code? I'll code. Like literally, everybody knows how to do everything, and that's the advantage that Filipinos have. Because I notice. Go ahead.
So.